Mario Sunshine is the most cinematic Mario game ever, and it's crazy that Nintendo never tried this again. It's odd for a game that released in 2002 to have more cutscenes and voice acting than the latest game in the franchise. The question is why? Nintendo isn't beyond creating a cinematic experience for Mario. They just recently made a brand new movie for the Plumber Brothers. So why don't they bring this same cinematic experience to their games? Mario Sunshine featured a lot of voice acting. Well, a lot for a Mario game. Mario himself keeps his simple Mamma Mia and lets it go here or there, but Peach, Bowser Jr., and other characters speak full sentences, and the voice acting really isn't all that bad.
Master Mario, if you would, cross over to that shore and find some assistance.
Behold this sketch of the perpetrator based on eyewitness descriptions. The truth is obvious. The guilty party sits among us. It is none other than Mario.
Objection! Overruled. Leave my mama alone, you bad man. I won't let you take Mama Peach away.
Mama Peach? I'm your mama?
This game actually has a story that's deeper than Save the Princess, making it seem as if Nintendo wanted Mario Sunshine to be more than just a graphical and gameplay leap at the time. They also wanted Mario's story to evolve as well. When you look at games like Metal Gear, Final Fantasy VII, and Grand Theft Auto 3, they push games more towards the direction of Hollywood blockbusters. And for a brief moment in time, it seemed like Nintendo allowed Mario to throw his hat in the ring with his own epic adventure story. They even threw our boy Mario into prison in Sunshine and made him a criminal just so a do-gooder like Mario could have a redemption arc. This is actually funny because during this time, so many games were going the edgy route that Nintendo in their own special way did what the crowd was doing. They made everything more adult, but for Mario. As for the story itself, it's nothing special, but the way it was told is solely unique to this Mario game. No other Mario game has progression like this one, and that's due to Nintendo taking the plot of this game seriously. Mario has been framed by who I thought was Mr. Game Watch because I played a lot of Smash Bros. Melee at the time, and must clean up Isle Delfino in order to pay for the crimes that he didn't commit. This fake Mario keeps trying to steal Princess Peach, and the way the scenes are shot with this low to the ground camera reminds me of how a lot of police chases look. Sunshine is also filled with a lot of little details like the haze of the tropical sun, which goes well with the setting, the dark cell Mario is placed in with just a tiny bit of light piercing through the bars, giving you just a little bit of hope that things are going to be okay, and just the overall epicness of everything around you. This makes Mario Sunshine so different from other 3D Mario games, which feel like they give you a story just to give you an excuse to do things, while this one seemed to be engulfed in its plot and its characters. Mario Sunshine actually reminds me a lot of how Sony handles their platforming games. Sony likes to blend in environmental storytelling and big cutscenes for a grand sense of adventure. And after Mario Sunshine, I felt like other Mario games had a little bit of that there, here, there sprinkled about, but not to the full extent of Mario Sunshine, which really focused on the theme of the tropical island, Mario being locked up and in jail and having to clean the island, and the overall story just felt like it was more important to the game rather than just an excuse for Mario to go around and save Princess Peach. Now, just because I love Mario Sunshine's attempt at a story doesn't make it a perfect story. Bowser Jr. taking Princess Peach away because Daddy Bowser lied about her being his mother is not touched on like at all. Which is kind of unfortunate because it would have been hilarious to see how Bowser would have explained to Bowser Jr. that Peach is his mother, because clearly she's not a turtle, so how would that even work? Maybe you could explain it away by saying Bowser Jr. is just a kid and he was just being naive, but in the end, he acknowledges that Peach isn't his mother. So it made me think, when did he realize this? Did he always know his dad was lying? We'll just never know because Nintendo doesn't answer these types of questions. But him knowing at the end that Princess Peach wasn't his mother did intrigue me, and it made me want to know more about Bowser Jr. Like, how smart is he? How much did he know? What was his true motivation? If he knew Peach was his mother, why go through all this? Was it just to appease Bowser? Like I said, we'll never know. But That's the beauty of Mario Sunshine. It has enough of a story where it makes me ask questions other than just saying, I won, the game is over. Professor Egad's equipment being in Sunshine is another plot point I wish was more elaborated on. Whether or not this game comes before or after Luigi's Mansion is something I've debated over the years in my head. And how did Bowser Jr. get his hands on the magical brush, which was made by Professor Egad? Egad made Bowser Jr.'s brush, and he also made Fludd, which is the tool Mario uses to defeat Bowser Jr. and to clean up the island. Now, it's easy to say that it's no deep meaning to any of this. Nintendo just used Egad as a creator of these items to link the game to Luigi's Mansion. Or could there be something deeper here? Could Egad have known Mario was going to Isle Delfino this entire time? I like to imagine that he gave the brush to Bowser Jr. to cause havoc in Isle Delfino and placed Fludd as a countermeasure so that he could test out two of his inventions at once. Egad isn't a bad guy, but he isn't necessarily a good character either, which is why outside of Bowser Jr. just stealing the brush, I could see him just giving it to him, knowing that Mario would be in Isle Delfino and he could test out Fludd against the brush. Knowing Nintendo, it's not as complicated as I'm making it out to be, but you gotta admit that Nintendo wrote a decent enough story to make people even question such things. Even if we look at the recently released Donkey Kong Bonanza, with its inclusion of a young Pauline, we sat there and questioned where did this game sit in the timeline. When Nintendo cinematizes their games, we typically love the ideas they conjured up. Like, think about it, who the hell would ever think that Nintendo of all companies would make their family-friendly mascot into a falsely accused criminal, intertwined into a maternity battle between a blonde-haired, blue-eyed princess and a giant turtle? Nintendo took Cops, Mori, and Law & Order and blended into Super Mario Bros. Like, that's what Sunshine is, and they never did anything like it ever again. And that's just me talking about the main plot. Sunshine has the exclusive episode system. It may look no different than the missions from Mario 64, but these episodes play out a story for each individual level. If you talk to the NPCs in each level, you will get further details about what's going on in each episode, and as a kid, I didn't really do that, so I missed all of this context. Serena Beach is home to Hotel Delfino, which is dealing with a ghost infestation. After dealing with Mecha Bowser, Mario helps the director rebuild the amusement park to its former glory. And in Noki Bay, you can help clean up the poison from the water. But there's a beef between a grandfather and a grandson you could miss if you don't speak to the characters or pay attention to what they're saying. Granted, Mario 64 had some of this there, but not to this extent. No other Mario game has committed so much to the world and story surrounding the meat of Mario, which is his gameplay. Nintendo even went out of their way to create a map where you could see the major locations from different levels, making this feel the most connected Mario world, not Mario World the game, but a Mario world, that I've ever experienced. Sunshine is the only Mario game that really blends story and gameplay into a sweet smoothie. Even Mario Odyssey doesn't go this hard in combining the two elements of gameplay and story. It would have been cool if Nintendo explained how Mario Odyssey's very unique locations all fit together like they did in Sunshine, but they just didn't. They wanted Isle Delfino to feel so real, they even explained how they made their income. Primarily through tourism and importing and exporting seafood. And there are even levels and missions surrounded by these locations so you'll know how they'll make their money. Now that's the dedication I would love to see from Nintendo in the future when it comes to the Mario series. Sunshine may be the most controversial 3D Mario game due to Fludd being a major part of the gameplay, but when it comes to the story, it's no denying that Nintendo went beyond the expectations for Sunshine, and what's worse is that they never did this ever again. But why, Nintendo? Why didn't you follow up on Bowser Jr. promising to get revenge on Mario? Why didn't you keep the dynamic cutscenes for future games or pick up where Mario Sunshine left off to keep the 3D Mario games in some kind of chronological order? Why did you step away from the episode system where each location of Isle Delfino had its own story that progressed with each new visit? Why, Nintendo? Why? Because Mario Sunshine is one of the worst selling 3D Mario games in the franchise.